In the realm of the unexplained, few objects incite as much terror as the haunted doll. This manufactured semblance of a human, often eerily lifelike, can become a subject of dread when imbued with an otherworldly presence. It's a symbol of innocence, a cherished item of youth and playfulness that inexplicably manifests a malevolent twist, making it anything but a plaything. This uncanny transformation of an innocuous item into a channel of the supernatural often leaves one shuddering with fear. Just picture this. Doll, as old as time itself, its heritage spanning across centuries, handed down from one generation to another. Its origins, lost in the labyrinth of history, are shrouded in mystery and speculation. Whispers of its past echo through ages, mingling truth and folklore. Its design, its texture, its features, all bear the imprints of countless hands that have held it over the years. Its eyes, once shimmering with the deceptive illusion of vitality, are now muted and lifeless, yet they hold an unsettling gaze. The illusion of an impassive stare, accentuated by the dimming glow of its artificial life, instills an unnerving suspicion of being watched. The longer one looks into these hollow eyes, the more they seem to flicker with an uncanny semblance of consciousness. This doll, an enduring relic of a bygone era, carries within it a chilling secret that transcends the boundaries of our understanding. It's not merely a toy, an object of amusement for innocent games. It's a vessel, a bridge between our world and another, an eerily silent medium for an entity not from our realm. The question that haunts us is, how did this happen? Stories suggest that certain objects, those with a deep emotional resonance, can act as a magnet for restless spirits. These items, often close to the heart, may attract entities yearning for a connection to the physical world. Perhaps the doll's original owner met an untimely, tragic end, their spirit becoming hopelessly entwined with their most cherished possession, leaving behind a legacy of eerie tales. In the end, it's said that some objects, especially those with emotional significance, can become a beacon for restless spirits. As time passed, the doll changed hands, its eerie aura intensifying with each transition. It seemed to possess a life of its own, a life that was not kind or benign, but rather sinister and malevolent. The doll was no ordinary toy. Its spirit was steeped in an ominous energy that seeped into the very fabric of its surroundings. No one could pinpoint the source of its uncanny power, but its presence was undeniable and its influence disturbing. Strange occurrences followed it like a relentless, stalking shadow. Unexplained noises would echo in the dead silence of the night, making the bravest hearts quiver in fear. The noises were never ordinary. They were whispery, ghostly sounds that seemed to be born from a different world, a world that was beyond the understanding of human minds. These were sounds that could freeze blood and make the hair on the back of your neck stand on end. Objects would move on their own with a suddenness that was startling. A cup would slide off a table, a door would slam shut, a book would fall from a shelf, all without any apparent cause. The doll, always at the center, its painted gaze ever watchful, appeared to be the puppet master, silently orchestrating a symphony of terror. The fear was subtle at first, a cold chill down the spine, an inexplicable feeling of being watched. It was as if invisible eyes were constantly monitoring every move. The feeling was persistent and disconcerting, a chilling reminder of the doll's omnipresence. But then, the incidents grew more alarming. Unsettling visions began to plague those who came in contact with the doll. The visions were vivid and terrifying, showing scenes of horror and despair. These were not random dreams. They were targeted assaults on the mind, each vision more horrifying than the last. Whispers were heard in the dead of night, voices that seemed to come from the doll itself. The whispers were low and sinister, carrying threats and warnings that were impossible to ignore. The voices grew louder and more vicious with each passing day, their messages more terrifying. A sense of dread permeated the air around the doll. It lingered like a foul stench, a constant reminder of the doll's malevolent presence. The feeling was suffocating, an oppressive weight on the hearts of those who dared to be near the doll. As the eerie occurrences escalated, the fear grew more palpable. No one was safe from the doll's wrath. Its power was growing, its influence spreading, and the doll, with its painted gaze ever watchful, continued to instill a sense of dread that lingered like a foul stench. The climax of this haunting tale is one of pure terror. This isn't simply a climactic moment that has sprung out of nowhere. It was a moment that had been carefully constructed, meticulously pieced together with a skilled artist's precision. This moment, the apex of bone-chilling terror, was not born out of the ether. It was instead a carefully orchestrated crescendo of horror, slowly built upon a foundation of creeping dread and nerve-wracking anticipation. The evening was not extraordinary in its commencement, no different from the countless evenings that had preceded it. The moon hung in the sky, casting its luminescent glow on the world below. Silence prevailed, only occasionally punctuated by the hoot of an owl or the rustling of nocturnal creatures in their ceaseless pursuit of survival. The air was thick with the anticipation of the doom that was about to unfurl, as if the very atmosphere was holding its breath, aware of the horror that was about to descend upon the unsuspecting victims. Then came the moment when the doll's presence became unignorable. It was as though the air had suddenly been sucked out of the room, replaced instead by a chilling, all-consuming dread. The doll, with its glassy eyes and painted smile, felt more real, more alive than ever before. Its innocence was a facade that hid its diabolical intentions. It was no longer just some child's plaything, it was a vessel of pure evil. Its sinister aura was palpable, its malevolent energy seeping into every inch of the room. The terror it wielded was not just physical, it was psychological. It was the fear that comes with the realization that one's safety is merely an illusion. It was the fear of the unknown, the fear of what lurks in the shadows, the fear that cuts deeper than any physical wound ever could. The power it exhibited that awful night was a chilling display of malevolence. It was as though the doll was not just a conduit of evil, but its very embodiment. Its power was not just about moving objects or creating a sense of unease. It was about instilling absolute terror in the hearts of its victims. The fear it induced was not temporary. It was a lasting terror that would etch itself onto the souls of its victims, leaving them forever scarred. This was a night of terror that left its victims shaken to their core. It was a chilling reminder of the darkness that lurks in the corners of our world, a sobering testament to the true power of evil. The haunting tale could not have found a more terrifying climax. A chilling display of its malevolent power that left its victims shaken to their core. But what can one do when faced with such a terrifying entity? This question sends shivers down the spine of those who have encountered such fearsome phenomena. We're talking about a situation that is as mysterious as it is terrifying. A situation where an innocent-looking doll becomes a vessel for an unseen, malevolent entity. This entity, this spirit, takes residence within the doll, turning it from a harmless plaything into an object of pure horror. Its once innocent painted eyes now seem to follow you around the room, its tiny stitched mouth appearing to twist into a knowing smirk, a chill-inducing reminder of the presence within. The situation is dire, the danger palpable. What does one do when faced with such an ominous threat? There are those who argue that the solution lies in the destruction of the doll, the physical container of the spirit. They believe in severing the bond between the spiritual entity and its material host, hoping to rid the world of its terror. They propose that by tearing apart the doll, smashing it into pieces and reducing it to nothing more than a pile of stuffing and fabric, we can free ourselves from the haunting grip of the spirit inside. The doll is just a shell, they argue, and its destruction would render the spirit homeless, powerless. However, others warn against this course of action. They caution that such an act might provoke the spirit, enrage it even. They fear that the destruction of the doll might not necessarily mean the end of the spirit. Instead, it might only serve to exacerbate the situation by freeing the spirit from its physical confines. These individuals worry that the spirit might be even more dangerous when unencumbered by its doll host, free to roam the world, causing havoc untold. They warn that destroying the doll might not be the solution, but could, in fact, be a terrible mistake. This begs the question, what is the right course of action? What is the solution to this spine-chilling problem? But what can one do when faced with such a terrifying entity? Some say the only solution is to destroy the doll, to break the bond between spirit and object. But others warn that this could only make things worse, unleashing the spirit upon the world. In the end, the haunted doll remains an enigma, a chilling reminder of the thin line between our world and the unknown. A toy or a terror? The answer lies within the eye of the beholder. So remember, next time you come across an old, forgotten doll, Think twice, for you never know what secrets it may hold, what unseen presence might lurk within its porcelain shell. In the realm of the paranormal, nothing is as it seems. And the haunted doll, this object of innocent play turned instrument of fear, is a testament to that chilling truth.